Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Denmark once again, and as I've told you many a time, Denmark is a really damn good beer country these days, so it's one that you definitely want to check out. And we're going to return to one of the breweries who've only recently popped up over there, but my last experience with these guys was really good. So for this one we're going to return to Gamma Brewing Company, and we're having a taste of an Imperial Stout from these guys today. So this one is the World Eater, and it comes in, I believe it was at 10% ABV. This one is an Imperial Milk Stout, and it should be pretty nice. It was rated well into the 90s on Rate Beer, and I think it was into the 4 stars as well on Untappd. And I think the last beer I reviewed from these guys was the Hop Sweat IPA, and that was really, really nice. So I'm looking forward to trying something from the other end of the spectrum. And as I say, these guys have a pretty good reputation these days. So if you get the chance to try some of their beers in Copenhagen, then definitely have a go at them. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Gamma Brewing before. No doubt I will do some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beer reviews that I'm doing for you, and that's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Gamma Brewing Company then. So Gamma Brewing Company was founded back in 2014 by 4 friends in Copenhagen who were bartenders at the various beer bars around the city, and they basically talked about how it would be cool to have their own brewery, and so they actually went and did it. So since actually founding, they've taken in another co-owner as well. So the team at the brewery are Jakob, Anders, Jesper, Koy and Nick, and they all had a little bit of home brewing experience, and 2 of them had previously worked for Ulsnedkeren in Copenhagen as well, who had actually purchased the former Stronso brewery in Görløse, which later became Ølkollektivet, which of course is where these guys actually brew their beers. But apparently they were invited to join Ølkollektivet, and they got a good deal on a 20 hectolitre tank back in the day. So they started their brewery without any experience of actually running a business, but it went quite well for them, and they've expanded twice since that, and they're now exporting their beers to Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden, and I think a few other countries as well. But they're producing over 500 hectolitres of beer per year, and one of the co-owners there is actually also a co-owner in the MIG and Ulsnedkeren bar up in Aarhus as well, over on Øland in Denmark too. So that's another place you want to check out. Aarhus has got some really good beer venues these days as well. But Ølkollektivet is home to Ulsnedkeren, Gamma Brewing, and of course Dry and Bitter as well, who are also getting rave reviews at the moment. But Ulsnedkeren also brew the Bad Seed beers under licence as well, and Ghost Brewing and Rooster were also based there for a period of time as well, but they've since moved on. Ølkollektivet is just kind of as it sounds. It's basically a sort of collective brewery where I think everyone has a little bit of space in one big warehouse. So it's quite an interesting place. Some good breweries coming out there. As I say, Gamma are doing some really good stuff. Dry and Bitter are getting rave reviews just now as well, and I've actually not tried any of the Ulsnedkeren beers as well, so I will need to see if I can review some of those for you at some point when I get back over to Sweden in August. So yeah, as I say, looking forward to this beer, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on it. That's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. Check out the brewery website in the description below, follow them on Facebook and stuff, and you can keep up to date with the latest goings on. But as far as I know, these guys have produced something like 20 or 30 different beers, maybe actually up to 40 if I remember right. There's a big list of them on there on Rate Beer, but they've got about 3 or 4, maybe 5 that are in the sort of core range of like that are regularly produced. But I bought this one at Kiosk in Copenhagen under their recommendations, and they always tell me some pretty good beers. I always love getting some of the Danish beers when I go there. But anyway, let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself then. So as you can see, nice artwork once again on this one. I was impressed with their artwork last time. It says on the side here, World Eater and Imperial Milk Stout. This is World Eater or Imperial Milk Stout. Combining 10 different malts, it offers notes of roast, dark fruit, caramel, chocolate and coffee, encased by a creamy smooth mouthfeel. Ages well, this one. And there you can see Gamma Brewing in Görløse in Denmark, or is it Jørløse? I'm not quite sure. If the Danish people watching the video could correct my pronunciation, that would be much appreciated. Plain bottle cap on this one, which is the case with all the Gamma beers. It would be cool if they actually just did one with a G or something on it. That would be really quite cool. But I do like the artwork on this one. There you can see the big kind of monster thing, a way to eat the earth. So yeah, nicely presented this one. So without further ado, let's get it out and get on with the tasting. Yeah, nice smoky opening on this one then. And we'll get it out and into the glass. That looks pretty oily and pretty good, I have to say. Impressed with this already. But yeah, as you can see, and as you would expect from an Imperial Stout, it's poured a nice dark ebony rosewood colour, and you've got a nice solid finger of a frothy, quite dark tan head actually on this one. It looks really, really nice. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. A little bit of a kind of dark chestnutty edge to this one, but overall it looks pretty nice. So let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. And incidentally, when you open up, you're going to get some nice kind of dark brown sugars and chocolate coming out of this, but let's have a closer look and see how we get on. That's interesting. So with this one, you can definitely pick up the coffee smoothness kind of underneath it. That's one of the things that jumps out at me right away. And you can get a little bit of the roasted black malt in there too, which is interesting. But on top of that, you start to get the sweeter notes. You can definitely pick up a little bit of that lactosey thing, and that mixes in with the chocolate, so it's kind of got this milk chocolatey aroma. And some of the brown sugars are in there as well. It definitely leans a little bit more towards a kind of dark sort of treacle thing, and it's a little bit toasted. So as I say, the base of this beer, when you take it in at first, you're going to notice the darker roasted things. A little bit of coffee, a little bit of black malt, as I was saying. Some nice sweet milky chocolate coming out of the beer as well. And those brown sugary notes. There's almost a little bit of a kind of nutty quality to it as well. When you sugar it up, you do start to get a little bit more of a kind of nutty quality coming out of the beer, which is nice. And there's a wee bit of a kind of almost bready note to it as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one. There's definitely a little bit of a bready, kind of nutty, maybe even slightly woody note under this beer. It's almost got a little bit of a woody spice when you sugar it up. But yeah, some earthy hops in there as well. And you can pick up that there's a little bit of a kind of candied fruit note to it as well. Some sort of almost figgy kind of candied red fruit notes coming out of this beer. But definitely this one, it's got a really nice balance. The malt base definitely, or the aroma, sorry, definitely leans a little bit more towards the malt base, as you'd expect. But it's got a nice darker backbone to it, but then the sweeter notes on top of that come out really nicely as well. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time to enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But let's have a try at this one now. So this is the World Eater, an Imperial Milk Stout from Gamma Brewing Company based at Ulkollektivet over in Copenhagen and Gørløse in Denmark. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. That's pretty nice, I have to say. It's really smooth. That's one of the nicest mouthfeels I've had out of an Imperial Stout in quite a wee while actually. I like how big and oily and sweet that is. If you've watched the channel before, you'll know that I'm a sucker for these big, sweet Imperial Stouts. As I said, you know, Herr Fredriksen from Amar Bryghus is one of the classic Danish ones. There's Black Hole as well, is another one that kind of comes to mind. Those are probably two of the classic Danish Imperial Stouts for me. But that's an awesome, awesome beer, that. For me, that one just hits the spot. I mean, as I always say, beer is subjective, so pretty much, you know, you can pretty much say, I can sit here and tell you about the beer, but everyone's going to pick up on different things. Every different beer is going to hit different spots for some people, but for me, this one just really hits the spot on an Imperial Stout. I do like the darker, roasty and bitter ones, but the sweet ones really just are exactly where I just get, it just hits the right spot for me, this beer. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, that's bloody good, that. I like that. I'll certainly be drinking one of these again. So anyway, with this one then, you can feel with this beer, it's got a nice little bit of a roasted and kind of slightly coffee-ish backbone to it, but the coffee's quite minimal in this. You can feel as the flavour kind of mellows out a little bit, that's when you start to get some of the roasty black malts out of this beer and a little bit of the coffee. It's really in the aftertaste that starts to come out. The first thing you're going to notice about this beer is the lactosey quality. You've got a nice kind of milky, chocolatey note to this beer. There is a little bit of higher cocoa, higher cocoa chocolate comes out a little bit later, but really it's the sweet milky kind of notes that are coming out of this one for me, and there's a lot of brown sugar in there as well. So if you go down the centre of your tongue, you do get the nice sweet caramel notes. Then as you move out a little bit, that's when you start to get a little bit of the darker, slightly treacle molasses kind of notes, and you can feel a little bit of that toasty quality in there. If you go right down the middle of the tongue, it's quite sweet, and out towards the sides there's a little bit of toasty quality in there, and some of the chocolate starts to push its way up there as well, but that's sitting of course on top of that kind of roasted black malty backbone. As that flavour in the middle of your palate mellows out a little bit, you start to get one or two kind of nutty qualities to it. I'm not sure if it's hazelnut a little bit, but it's definitely some kind of nutty quality that comes out of that. I'm not big into my nuts, of course, but it does have a nice kind of nutty quality to it, and maybe even a little bit of wood. If you just go behind the front curve of the palate there is a little bit of a slightly woody quality starts to come out of this beer. It's not like vanilla or anything like that, but you can just pick out that there's a little bit of woody quality coming out with the nuts. But yeah, this beer, for me, it's definitely one where it's all about how these flavours kind of blend together. It's not too punchy in any one regard, but I really like how smooth the mouthfeel is in this one. It's really just a really nicely done beer. So I have to say to Gamma Brewing Company, who are, you know, basically they are quite a young brewery, you have to say to them on this beer, are really well done. They've kind of hit the sort of milk stout style with, you know, they've gone in all guns blazing, and it really has worked out for them. I have to say that's a really nice beer. In terms of the hoppy side of it then, back corners of the palate, there's a little bit of earthiness there. It's not really that high in terms of IBU. As you come further forward along the sides of your palate, you can feel that it smooths out a little bit. There's maybe just a tiny little bit of a very slightly kind of grassy note around the front curve of your tongue, but overall the hops in this beer are quite smooth, and if you just go behind the front curve of the palate there, that's where you're going to get this little oily bubble where all those nice red fruity esters come out. So for me with this beer, there is a little bit of a kind of raisin and plummy sharpness to it initially, but then it kind of fades away into a more sort of candied, sort of figgy type fruit out of this one, and then in the aftertaste, it's definitely a little bit of the sort of figgy, candied sort of flavour that's coming out of this one, but it has a little bit of sharpness in the middle of that. So it comes in candied, sort of figgy, goes and becomes a little bit sharper. Then as the beer just kind of mellows out a little bit more, it does return to that sort of candied, kind of figgy flavour. But overall, this beer goes together really nicely. I have to say, as I was mentioning, they've done a really good job of this, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say probably at the bottom end of full body, this one. Carbonation is really, really smooth in this beer. It's a big, oily mouthfeel, this one, and that definitely suits the flavours that you're getting out of that. It really brings out that kind of lactosey backbone that this beer has. It really suits it in that regard. A little bit of hoppy bitterness, like I was saying, but this beer is all about the malt base. The malt base is definitely dominated by the sweeter elements, and that's aided by that sort of creamy, lactosey kind of mouthfeel that the beer has. There's a little bit of juicy fruit in there as well. As I said, it's got a bit of sharpness in the middle, but overall it's quite a juicy, fruity character that comes out of this beer. But I think they've done a nice job with this beer, and as I said, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. So if you get the chance to have a go at this one, I do highly recommend it. They've done a great job with this, so have a go at it and see what you think for yourself. So yeah, that's probably a good way to kind of to sign off on this one. So it's a really nice Imperial milk stout. As I've told you in many a video, I enjoy the milk stouts, like Riptide for example from Brewdog was the beer that really got me into that. And then of course there's the Black Hole from Mikkeller, of course, that's a really nice one as well. Then Herr Fredriksson, I think, leans a little bit towards the kind of sweet side of things when it comes to the Imperial stouts as well, and it's that type of Imperial stout that really hits the spot for me, and this one definitely leans in towards that kind of sweeter side of the spectrum rather than the dark roasty side. So if that's your kind of thing, I think you really will enjoy this one. If you're watching Germany and Sweden and things like that, there is a good chance that you will be able to get this beer. And otherwise, in fact, if you are trying this beer, let me know in the comment section where you're actually trying it, because they are starting to export more and more. But as I was saying in my last video, these guys have got a very bright future ahead, so let's leave it at that for just now. So yeah, this was the World Eater, an Imperial milk stout at 10% from Gamma Brewing Company in Gurløs in Denmark. Once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media. Make sure you go and check out Gamma Brewing Company. As I say, they've got some nice beers. And do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below, and let me know what your favourite beers are from Gamma Brewing as well. And do let me know any other Danish breweries that I should be doing some reviews of on the channel. I really enjoy reviewing the Danish beer because it's really quite a high standard. But yeah, a lovely Imperial milk stout from Gamma Brewing over in Copenhagen. Until the next time, it's Slanger just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Skål.